I want you to come down onto the pitch and show us, because we're trying to get into the head of a referee here today, and we figured that you'd be the best person to take us through this. Kobani has some questions.
Okay, I mean, with all the chat, no, you're not about the chat, you're about the work on the field. Let's just go through these new amended laws that all the rugby's are trialling at the moment. I mean, for us, what has been important, especially the scrum law, how everyone has always been complaining about there's a favourable way of putting in the ball. What is the call? What is the chat nowadays? John, if you could play scrum off like you always did.
I've always wanted to.
So if
am I the front row for you?
So we're the front row, he'll be a hooker. So the law mentions that there'll be a different way of the ref. There's no more signal from the referee putting the ball into the scrum. And then it goes down to say that you can align yourself to the shoulder of the loose head, so more favourable to your side, so stability and all that. Your call, how do you sit? How do you guys call it?
I think for us as referees, it's important.
So we right here first.
Do you want me to?
This is the attacking scrum, eh?
Yeah, that's the attacking scrum.
Are you hooker? Do you need me to get in there?
Get that side.
So what's important for us is to set it up for success. So the more things we can get right while you guys are setting up, the more chance that ball's going to go in and it's going to go out the right way. So obviously you're taking away all the body positions, and going into the new law trials, we still want a nice contest at the scrum. But for this now, when we set up, we'll be nice and
You're going to have to hook her. No. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, before you get there,
there we go.
Do you make the mark? Do you have a starting point for the scrum to be set?
So we can give a little indication just for the hookers. They need to be to the left of the mark. That just makes sure.
I want to be on this side.
There we go.
We don't want head-to-head. So the scrum, obviously a lot of injuries have unfortunately come from the scrum. So we make sure we don't have the head-to-head contest. So by making each hooker go to the left of their mark, they'll interlock.
Go to your mark, brother.
The scrum off then, if that is my mark, where must he be? Must he be exactly on that mark, in line with that mark, or does the attacking team actually get a bit of an advantage as to where he lines?
Yeah, so with the new laws, you are allowed to shift a little bit to your side. I would generally, as a referee, kind of want to come in and take control of my classroom here and exert my presence, if I can put it like that. So I'm going to make sure I can go on my checklist. I'm looking at the foot position, looking at your shoulder positions, looking at spines in line. And then we can go through the calls, which would be crouch, bind, and sit. Okay?
Don't break our mark.
No, I'm not pushing.
So,
when the ladies play, you don't worry about the hair.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. With the new law now,
But the big thing there is you want to get the hooker to hook. You don't want the scrum now just to push over the ball. They're wanting the hook to come through. Yeah. So the foot has to go off the ground to hook the ball.
Yeah, and I think it's very important. The scrum is a big part of, especially South African rugby. We love our scrums, we love our forward play, so it's important that we still exert that dominance, but that the hooker actually takes the ball over and we can actually play with the ball.
It's a good thing that we've already spoken about the striking, so which you just explained pretty well for us, so we'll be very happy with that. So let's just put it up there, in the fact that as now from the new laws, there has to be an intent, I guess, or intention to hook the ball back with the attacking hooker, and the other front row, they can strike for the
defending front row.
The defending front row.
All of them free for all, they're allowed to?
Contested, that's what the scrum
but you
is.
think about it, X, if you're going to get a prop, a loose head or a tight head on one leg, he's going to be in a very weak position as far as the scrum is concerned.
And just for if Bakkies Puerta is watching, striking means the hooker hooking the ball.
It
does not mean it does not mean striking the opposite hooker.
Okay, let's go to the tackler now. The tackler, the law about the tackler. So now, if Bros is the let's get this right.
You're the
Which one do you want?
I'll tackle you. I'm not
Use a proper ball.
Give him a proper ball.
Just give him a mouth guard as well, please.
Just stepping on the outside.
We go down.
Face the ball.
I can't go straight and pick that up.
Okay, I have to do it.
You're going to have to do all of that again because you're busy looking at the law first. So the tackler must get up before playing the ball, and then can only play from their side of the gate. So going through the gate.
How do you do this? Okay, let's try and demo that.
Let's demo that. Let's show that.
I've got the ball, and there's Bros.
We go down to ground.
Yes.
Got it down.
I want to go. I've got to come round.
You're going this way, bros.
Which team did you play for?
So, if we make it as simple as possible, if we're playing up and down that way, you're going that way, you're going that way. the gates are still there, everything's still there. Make a wonderful tackle.
Up my gate.
He's going to make a nice
So
tiny gate.
I would have been on the ground.
Yep, there we go.
I get to my feet.
Previous
I've got
laws.
to come round here, and then I've got to play it.
And you can go through, yeah. So previous laws, it allowed you to just stand up and start running. And I think this was more prevalent in the sevens game, where it was kind of just the one-on-one tackling, and they'd poach and go. It's not as big in the 15s, but it makes an easier picture in the 15s game, and the people think the first thing the crowd will shout is offsides, offsides. And now we've kind of taken that all away, simplified it. Now we're saying he's always just got to come from that gate, he or she.
And that is quite an important point that she's mentioning. There is the simplicity of the law, because the ruck is something that's very difficult for a referee. The scrum is something that is very difficult for a referee. So the simpler we can make it, the more times than not, the referees will make the right decision. Also, from a player point of view, upskilling yourself in terms of knowing the laws, it is easier. So that there's clarity, there's a big distinction between, there's no grey area, and we know we can get the right calls more times.
Ruck law, that's law 16 if you don't know. Check it on the book.
I'm assuming this amendment, Bobs, came about after what we saw with Scotland last year.
England, Italy.
England, Italy, I beg your pardon.
Can you let the person who knows how to talk about it, talk about it, Amy, just explain it to us.
I'm going to go down to ground.
So he's gone down to ground.
You've been tackled.
He's been tackled, and I'm the attacking. By me attaching myself to him, or do I have to touch him anyway?
Yeah, so now a ruck is formed. So previously a ruck was formed, one player from each team on their feet in physical contact.
Yes.
Okay, so that was a ruck.
This is a ruck.
Okay, so...
but now...
Sorry, can I go back one step? So we're saying the tackle is made. So in other words, here is an opposing player already here.
Yep.
That was the old law. So if Bobes comes in now, that would have been a ruck in the old laws already, yes?
No.
No.
No, because there's no two players over the ball.
But here
That's
would
now
have
a
been a
ruck.
ruck.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so with the new laws, we don't need you.
Yes.
That's a ruck.
That's a ruck.
Yeah, so it just makes it's a lot simpler for referees, because then we get into debates as far as was the ruck formed, yes or no, and obviously those tactics by coaches that have now studied the laws and they've sent their players up by not forming rucks. It just makes it a lot more simpler and easier for everyone else to understand. Yeah, just as far as offside lines.
Yeah.
On offside lines and all that.
And we've seen it in the Currie Cup this year with one or two instances where that's been blown. You've spoken about the scenario where a team tries to use that, manipulate the ref to try and earn a penalty.
So let's set up a little, maybe we make a little tackle and then I come in there. So that means the...
Refs can't be manipulated.
Okay.
Okay. And he's not going...
Thank you.